Question 15 is Deputy Broughan.
Well, Minister, you might remember a few months ago, I think, I asked you in relation to procurement systems from the department. We've been talking about the Chief Procurement Officer in earlier questions. And I noticed that in the last government, I think, or the second, would it be the second last government, in May 2014, the Paediatric Hospital Development Board recommended a derogation and recommended, in other words, a different approach to procurement, a two-stage approach, it said that these were the circumstances. Now, you have a budget oversight unit in your department, and there seems to have been a formal approach about that there would have to be a two-stage procurement process. And then we had another circular, I think, in January of 2016, again in the last Fine Gael Labour government, and then subsequently a date, I think, in early 2017.
Yes,
so, well, I mean, given the dangers about two-stage procurement, wasn't this a crazy and very poor oversight, a crazy performance by your department?
Over time, Deputy. I'm sorry, Minister. Who's taking this?
So the question the Deputy just put to me there doesn't bear any relation to the one I have here in front of me.
Last week, for example.
So what
well, I'm asking about the two-stage, yeah, and you already answered me a very short answer, a written answer, about why two-stage procurement, given that we had, we know about building contracts in the past.
I'm trying to... Can we, Deputy, please? Yeah, well,
I'm not sure he is, but it's number 15. Is that?
It's question 15.
Question 15.
If you answer the question in front of you.
Okay,
there.
thank you very much. The role of my department is in respect of the monitoring of our overall expenditure by departments, and of course then individual departments play a role then in relation to individual projects and play a key role. The management and delivery of individual projects within the overall capital allocation is primarily the responsibility of the relevant sponsoring department and minister. A public investment management assessment, a PEMA mission to Ireland, was undertaken by the IMF in July 2017, which assessed our management of public capital resources compared to what would be expected in an advanced economy. Their final report was published on my department's website on the 10th of November 2017. The PEMA report concluded that overall, Ireland manages its public infrastructure relatively well. It highlights both strengths and weaknesses and contains a number of recommendations to improve future performance in terms of the efficiency of public capital investment. The National Development Plan, published in February of 2018, sets out planned improvements for the management of capital spend, drawing in particular on the 2017 PEMA report. More generally, in the context of the ongoing review of the Public Spending Code, I will be giving consideration to how the current arrangements for procurement and management of major capital work contracts can be further refined and enhanced with a view to maintaining and strengthening the focus upon value for money.
You were asked, Minister, how do you monitor major procurement contracts? Now, I was looking at your management board meetings, at your agendas, and it appears to me that every quarter you have an agenda item which is high-level risks. Now, surely there was a feedback through the Department of Health all the time you have been Minister that there was a high-level risk in relation to the escalation and the ballooning of costs for the National Children's Hospital. I mean, surely that was brought to your attention way back in early 2018 or even in 2017, since the formation of the Brad Kerr government. And, for example, was your your management committee, were you not aware that there was a derogation on the two-stage procurement? That you're going to have somebody doing the pile driving, if you like, and then coming along with a totally separate bill for the building itself. Surely you knew that this was the case, and that procurement here wasn't working. And you appeared in front of us in the Budget Oversight Committee several times in relation to the budget. I've a motion down on the Dáil Clár about this. You never told us. You never told us about this risk when you had to know that it was ongoing and that it was happening.
Deputy,
hasn't this been a failure by you?
Deputy.
It has been a
grotesque
failure by yourself
and the
Department of Public Expenditure and Reform.
Minister.
Already outlined to the House on a number of occasions the timeline upon which I and my department became aware of the overspend. We have outlined the timing upon which this happened from early November onwards, and we have outlined the work that the Department of Health did to get up to this point. Clearly, there are learnings that we have to look at in relation to the implementation of a two-stage procurement process. It appeared to be appropriate then for a project of this scale, and amidst the language that the Deputy has used of a grotesque failure, I would hope that he would also give recognition of all of the projects, including within the Department of Health, that are built, that are making a difference to communities and to citizens at the moment, or that are being built as we speak through procurement and through tendering processes that have worked well.
Minister.
The Department of Health and the HSE that they knew, for example, in April 2018 at the latest, that the guaranteed maximum price for the second stage of this procurement project, there was no figure there. We didn't know what figure we were facing, and that there was seemed to be a total disagreement between MPH quantity surveyors and the building contractors, BAM, M&A. I mean, we knew that that issue existed, surely, way back, almost this time last year, and that we were facing, therefore, some guaranteed maximum price, of which we didn't know what size it was going to be. I remember the Taoiseach, was it the 650 million? I remember first of all talking about putting 400 million away from this project. I mean, Minister, can I just ask you, wasn't it a mistake by this government when the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform was reversed back into the Department of Finance? Wouldn't it have been better if you had been simply the Minister for Expenditure and Reform and able to do your job, which was monitoring our spending?
Minister. Please, Minister.
Well, it was due to the integration of the Department of Finance and Public Expenditure and Reform, for example, that we've been able to move ahead on projects overall, like Ireland 2040. It was due to the fact that they're located within, under me as Minister, that we're able to make integrated decisions in relation to taxation and spending. We're able to look at what is the level of money that we need to raise in order to deliver new projects or keep on delivering ones that are underway, and we're able to make taxation decisions that fit into doing that. And as I said to the Minister, as I said to Deputy Broughan, I mean, he is quick enough to point to the failure of this project, but Deputy, we have many other projects across the country, many other decisions that have been made. For example, the decision that was made this week alone in relation to, for example, the Clooney and Castlebaldwin motorway. This is a motorway that is much needed. It can make and will make a very big part to commuters and to citizens in our country. And of course, it's projects like that and other projects that are going ahead successfully that we never hear a word of recognition from Deputy Broughan on.
Thank you, Minister. Question 16, Deputy John.